everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am sharing with you guys the top 10 series I really need to finish. So this video was originally going to be a top 5 list, but I have so many series that I want to finish or need to finish that I ended up making it 10. I still had to go through and actually be what 10 am I going to talk about today? What was my criteria for making this video? Because like I said, I have a lot of series unfinished. So what I decided to do was go with series that I own the entire thing. So I should have been able to finish it. And I don't have too many books left in the series. I didn't just start a 10 book series and I have 8 books to go, you know what I mean? And also ones that have been on my TBR for a while now. So I have 10 series I'm going to share with you guys today. I do have actually series that are adult, young adult, and middle grade, but the young adult stack does seem to be the biggest. Just in general, even, I feel like I'm gravitating more toward adult titles, even though I do still read young adult and middle grade, but because of the fact that I'm picking ones that have been on my TBR for a while and I just haven't finished and I need to finish, young adult has quite a few because I was really into young adult and I still like young adult, but I haven't finished a lot of the series on my shelves. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump into 10 series I need to finish, and we're gonna start with the adult books. So the first series that I have here is the Night Prince series by Jeaniene Frost. It is a 4-book series. This actually is the second series in the Night World. Are they called Night World? There is another series called Night World. But this is a book world where the first series is called Night Huntress, and it is paranormal romance. I've read all of the Night Huntress series, really enjoyed those books, and then this was a spin-off featuring Dracula, and so this is the Night Prince books. I have read the first 3 books of this series, so we have Once Burned, Twice Tempted, Bound by Flames, and the one I haven't read, which is Into the Fire. I'm not entirely sure why I haven't read this one. I think it might have been that I read these ones and this was the one that I was waiting for it to come out. And one thing that happens a lot with me with series of books is I want to reread the previous books before I get to a new one if it's been over a year or so. And I feel like that might have happened. And now that it's been so long since this one came out, and this one actually came out in 2017, so it has been a while. I don't know if I actually purchased it in 2017, but it's very possible I did because I've been sort of purchasing Jeaniene Frost's books as they are coming out and then currently not reading them because I want to reread the whole Night Huntress series and the Night Prince books to finish this one, and then there's another series that has come after this one. I am now in a bind, but I want to finish this book, this series, so that I can continue on with her books because I really do like her paranormal romances. Most of them are vampires. I know there's another series that I actually own from her again that's not interconnected with this, that's paranormal romance, but it's not vampires. But I need to finish these. The next series that I need to finish is the Poppy War series by R.F. Kuang. This is a series that I have been talking about needing to finish since the 3rd book came out because the first book is The Poppy War. I read it and gave it 5 stars. The second book is The Dragon Republic, which I read and gave, at the time, 4.5 stars. I think now it might be closer to a 4, maybe even a 3.5, because I did not like as much the political drama in here, because it definitely gets to more of the political side than The Poppy War, and that's part of the reason I haven't picked up the 3rd book, The Burning God. Another part is because I've heard it's absolutely devastating and I'm intimidated by this book. But I tried to do a reread of The Poppy War and The Dragon Republic when this book was coming out. And I sped through The Poppy War because I really do enjoy that one. And I ended up putting down the Dragon Republic and didn't pick it back up because it was so politically heavy at the beginning of that story that I didn't get to all the action and drama and stuff near the end. And so this is one that I definitely need to finish. I know a lot of people have told me I need to finish it, but it is just intimidating because of the content and the fact that it's the last book, and it's a big book at that, in the series. The last adult series that I have on this list right now is the Miriam Black series by Chuck Wendig. It is a 6-book series that I have read 3 of. So we have Blackbirds. I have read this one. I think I give it 5 stars. Mockingbird, again, I think I gave it 5 stars. The Cormorant, I could be mistaken, but I think I gave this one 4 or 5 stars. And then we have the next 3, Thunderbird, The Raptor and the Wren, and Vultures, which I have not read, but obviously I have picked up all 3. The thing about this one is they started off as mass market, like pocket-sized books with different covers that I absolutely love. But I read the first 3, like, as they were coming out. Like, I just absolutely loved them, devoured them. This is a series about a woman who, like, when she touches somebody can see their death. And in the first book sees a man's death, and she decides she's gonna try and foil that death, even though usually when that happens in the past, she ends up then causing it. But I love how snarky and sarcastic and stuff that this woman is, and like I just really loved those 3 books. But there was a little bit of a hiatus in between book 3 and book 4, and they went from the mass market covers to these ones. And so because of that, it took me forever to pick these ones up. And I do think these are pretty cool covers, just not as cool as the ones that I had previously, and it ended up just being too long in between the first 3 books and these 3 books. So it's another case of I want to reread the first 3 books before I continue on in the series. I have a feeling that this might be one of those ones where I end up marathoning the whole thing, because I remember the first 3 being very engaging and like I wanted to sit and just read them all when I was reading those ones, and I hope that's going to be the same feeling with these. I just need to actually do it. Now we're going to move into some young adult books, because like I said, I do have quite a few young adult series that I need to read. The first one I have here is the Selection series by Kiera Cass. I have read the first 2 books and not the 3rd one. I'm not counting the spin-off ones because I will never end up reading those. It's just not something that I was into. But I do have the Selection, the Elite, and the one which I have not finished. I've owned these books since this one came out in paperback. So I think it was going to be originally published in like 2015. I've owned it since probably 2016. It is 2023. These are very short YA books, and I feel like it is something that I could speed through. And I've been wanting to reread the first 2 books so that I could just continue on with the last one in the series. The last one I'm considering in the series. I'm not considering the other ones. And I just haven't done it yet. So this is something that I feel like needs to be maybe like a weekend where I literally just read these and be done with it. Because they are dystopian, YA, romance. Like, I liked the first 2 quite a bit, even though I know they're a little bit cheesy, you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's not high literature, which is fine, because I really don't like high literature. But yeah, I just need to actually sit down and finish this series. The next YA series I have here is actually probably one of the newer ones on this list, and it's going to be the Aurora Cycle by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I read Aurora Rising like as soon as it came out. Absolutely loved it. I read Aurora Burning, again, basically as soon as it came out. I did not like this one as much. It followed some characters that I wasn't as much of a fan of, and it ended on a cliffhanger. So then I have Aurora's End, which I need to read, and I haven't. Part of it, again, is because I sort of wanted to reread the first 2 books, especially because Aurora Burning ends on that cliffhanger, and I wanted to see how it goes into Aurora's End, and I just haven't. It even has my favorite character on the cover, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not, just because like you never know with these authors what they're going to do with their characters. But I need to finish this series. I absolutely loved the first book, especially for the sci-fi vibes. This is obviously a YA sci-fi series, but it feels like a great mix, especially to me because I love sci-fi stuff, of Firefly and Mass Effect and Star Trek, and like it has those vibes of like found family, but we also have some aliens that are working together with the humans, and some of the plot points definitely feel like Firefly and that kind of stuff, and I just really enjoyed what I read. But now I'm intimidated by the end of this, and I just need to suck it up and reread these, because I do need to reread them and then finish the series. Another YA sci-fi series I need to finish is the Lunar Chronicles. I've read the first 2 out of 4 of these books. Now these are the very pretty covers that I think came out in 2020. Like, I absolutely love these. But so I do have Cinder, which I have read, and also Scarlet, which I have read. I read these actually in the original covers, paperbacks. Like, I didn't read them like when they were first coming out, but I read them in the original covers. And I think I originally had Cress in the original cover as well, but I never picked up Winter until these covers, because I love these so much. And I actually literally started my reread of Cinder last year. There's still a bookmark in here, because I got to a point in my pregnancy last year where I was just not feeling a lot of reading stuff, and so I got to page 186 in Cinder and then didn't continue. And it wasn't to say that it was bad, it was just I ended up in a reading slump because of life. And so yes, I have read these 2. Definitely want to continue and read these ones, but because it had been so long, that's why I started rereading Cinder, because I read those back in the original covers probably at least 2 or 3 years before 2020, maybe even more than that. Like, it was a while ago. And then I updated my covers but never finished the series. So yeah, this is another one I need to finish. Okay, another YA series. This one might be a surprise to some people. I don't know. I feel like it's one that I feel very guilty about. And it's going to be the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I have read almost everything Maggie Stiefvater has ever done, but apparently I've just never finished this series and then obviously moved on to the spin-off. I have read The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily Lily Blue. I have never picked up The Raven King. I need to. I do. Part of this one was because it actually took a while to come out in paperback. Like, I remember working at a Barnes & Noble waiting for the day that this one came out in paperback, because all of my other books were in paperback. And normally in publishing, and this could be changed now, but in general, you get a hardcover book and about a year later it comes out in paperback. When this one was coming out, I think around 2016 in paperback, there was quite a few YA books that were like very popular. And because of their popularity, the publishers actually decided not to put out the paperbacks 1 year later. Like, I know The Fault in Our Stars came out around the same time, and that one was in hardcover for like almost 3 years straight before it came out in paperback. Like, it felt like it took forever. Like, I remember working at the bookstore and people coming in for certain books asking for paperbacks, and we had to tell them it wasn't published yet. And like, it felt like the publication date kept getting pushed back. And this was one of the ones that I was waiting for it to come out in paperback, and it took over a year for it to come out in paperback. And so then by then, I just didn't read it. I need to. Again, another one that I feel like I probably want to do a reread for. And again, they're not very long. I feel like it wouldn't take me that long to do a reread of these, but like, that's what I want to do. I want to do a reread so I can finish the series. I also do own Call Down the Hawk, which is the first book in the spin-off series. And the last one, the third one, I think, of that one just came out, right? Like, I'm behind. I need to read these. We're actually at the last YA series that I need to read, and it's going to be The Merciless by Danielle Vega. I've read half of these 4. So I've obviously read The Merciless. I love the aesthetic of these books, by the way, like the hot pink with the gold. It's great. I've read book 2, so Merciless 2. It's very shiny gold. I have not read The Merciless 3, which is sort of holographic. It's a little hard to tell on camera right now, but it has like these holographic glitters on it. And then I also have The Merciless 4, Last Rites, which is sort of like, looks like black parchment or like cloth something like that. So these are the two that I need to read. These are YA horror books. The first one, I remember when it came out, because I mean, look at this. Again, I was working at a Barnes & Noble, and the fact that this came in undust jacketed the way it is, the bright hot pink and the pentagram, people were concerned about it, but like, it's an aesthetic. It is very aesthetically pleasing. And when you go into the very front, like on the end papers, it says for mature audiences only. And when you see this, you're like, really? It's in the YA section? No, it definitely is like YA horror. I loved it, devoured it, have bought almost everything else Danielle Vega has done. Most of them are standalones or like shorter series, but these are the ones that are a bigger series, and I've read the first two, haven't read book 3 or 4, even though I purchased these like as they were coming out to support the author and because like I love the first two. I think I keep putting these off until it's closer to the fall spooky season, and then I don't end up being able to read them all. And so I just haven't. Like, I want to, again, reread them, but like, look at those. I love the aesthetics of these so much. I just need to read them. Preferably this year, during the fall spooky season. Okay, now we're gonna move into middle grade. I have a couple middle grade series here. The first one is going to be the Magisterium series by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I almost put a different Cassandra Clare on this list because the last book of the Last Hour series came out last month. But it literally came out last month. And so even though I do need to finish that series, and I really, really want to finish that series, I don't think it's old enough to be like one that I need to be telling you guys like why I haven't finished it yet. It just came out. But so this is a middle grade series. Very fantasy focused. I absolutely loved the books that I've read so far. The first book especially, I just absolutely loved how they did all the tropes that you usually see in fantasy, especially middle grade fantasy, chosen one fantasy, and sort of turned it on its head a little bit. Like, this was so much fun. So the first book is The Iron Trial. The second book is The Copper Gauntlet. The third book is The Bronze Key, and I have read all 3 of those. So the ones that I have not read yet are The Silver Mask and The Golden Tower. I need to read these. Again, middle grade fantasy, very, very short. I need to read them. The thing is, again, I haven't because I want to reread the first 3 books because every single book so far in the first 3 that I've read has something that is like a normal fantasy trope turned on its head, almost in a cliffhanger or a like twist sort of way. And so because of how those are put together, and I really, really like them, I want to experience them again and then continue. But I haven't, because I'm horrible about finishing series, especially ones that I want to reread, because there's so many good books coming out that I feel like I can't sit down and reread them. But I need to. I need to sit down and finish this series. Okay, and then the last series I have here, I do have in the middle grade category because you find these books in the middle grade or children's section when you go to the bookstore, although I'm sure because it's sort of a classic, you could find it in other sections as well. It's going to be the Anne of Green Gables books by Ellen Montgomery. Now this is one that probably has the most books in a series that I have not read, and I was trying to keep it where I only had like 1 or 2, maybe 3 books left. This is an 8-book series that I've read at least the first 3, potentially 4 books. The thing is, I say potentially 4 because I can't remember. I read these books like in middle school, forever ago. And yes, these books have been out for a while, but I don't know why I never finished the series, but obviously I read book 1, Anne of Green Gables. This is the very classic one. I have read for sure book 2, Anne of Avonlea. I know I've also read book 3, Anne of the Island. Book 4 is where I get to, did I read this? Did I not? I don't remember. But book 4 is Anne of Windy Poplars. Book 5 is Anne's House of Dreams. Book 6 is Anne of Ingleside. Book 7 is Rainbow Valley. And book 8 is Rilla of Ingleside. So like as you get through this series, we actually get Anne getting married and having children, like as you can see here. And then book 8 is technically like her daughter. So I know technically these are all in the same series, but that might have been the reason I didn't fully finish them when I probably should have. But like at the same time, I loved these books. I loved her as a character and her friendships and her family and like growing up, especially because like as we know, Anne is an orphan in book 1 and gets adopted, and like everything that happens I loved. And she's pursuing a career in education, and like the romance that you eventually have, like I loved what I read. And I feel like they're so classic. I just need to finish the series because I purchased all of them. I think I purchased all of these before I did a booktube channel. Like these have been on my shelves for a while now, and I need to read them. I definitely need to read them. Now those are all 10 series that I wanted to talk about today. I don't know for sure if I'm going to be able to get to them this year or all of them this year because I have so many things that I'm planning on reading, but I would like you guys to let me know, out of these series, is there anything you think I should prioritize, because I am well aware I need to finish them. I'm going to finish them someday, but I would like to know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I currently have videos coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye.
Mommy, are you